Ash, welcome. And I almost want to say, Ash, you have the floor. Tell us all about it.
Thank you. Obviously, it's really good to be here. Came in on the late flight yesterday, so I've been in still a little bit at 30,000 feet, I think, but obviously very happy to be here.
An unbelievable year. I mean, you've heard this 1,000 times, but it's our turn to say it now. And I suppose I want to take you right back to the 15th hole. Tell us about that and the ensuing playoff.
Yeah, obviously that whole day I kind of knew a little bit where I was, but I didn't know how many shot lead I had standing on 15. And anyway, I hit it left, and I even said to my caddy Tanya, I said, what's there? I didn't even know there were bunkers there. Anyway, and I got up there, and I think also what the cameras didn't show is that it plugged off the bounce up the face. And everybody the next minute just saw me playing from out the rough. So, I hit it, and my first thought was like, oh, it's okay, I'll just plop it out, hopefully get it on the green and make 5 and walk off here. And obviously, as we all saw, one thing turned to another, got it out, and walked off and made triple. And that was the first time I really looked at the leaderboard, and I said to myself, well, I'm joined for the lead, I haven't lost the lead. And my caddy said, all right, let's just get back on it. 3 holes to go, let's keep doing what we've done the whole week. And that's all I try to do. I'd done everything so well, I wasn't going to let one shot really. I made one bad swing on that hole and walked off with a triple, really bad swing on the drive. So, and all I tried to do was what I did that whole week. I stood on 16, tough par 3, and I said to myself, right, keep your tempo. That was my only thought that got me to that point the whole week, and that's all I did. And I said, well, at least just try to give yourself a chance. And nearly made birdie on 17, and then as we all saw, 18 is a brutal hole. The drive is very demanding, went off the right, hit a great shot in there, then hit a little far past, and hold a really good 6-footer to get myself into that playoff.
That hole, that specific hole, every time you had to go back to play, it just seemed like it got tougher. Was it because of the light or?
Light, cold, it got cold. I mean, in regulation play, I hit 6 on, and in the playoff, we were hitting 5 woods. It started to get cold, the wind started to get stronger, it played in off the right, which for me was an advantage because I like to fade the ball, so I just felt I could hold it against the wind. And everybody that week was like, I can't believe you hit that fairway. I hit that fairway every day because it was a very demanding tee shot, but I felt comfortable. For me, it was the second shot that was uncomfortable, being surrounded by the bunkers. But yeah, NG being a major winner, I knew she wasn't going to give it to me. I had to go out and win it if I wanted it.
And just that moment, I don't think any of us will ever forget that moment where you stood and the next minute Dave was there. And,
yeah.
I mean, that was, it's captured in everybody's heads and hearts.
Yeah, obviously, tapping the putt, and I think at first it was just a case of relief. Okay, you've done it. And the next minute I look, obviously Dave's coming, running at me. Next minute I'm up in the air. And it's just a whirlwind of emotions. The fact that there were like so many players and caddies still there, it was so late, it was very special.
Well, what these guys never saw was what I saw, which was the after party, which was unbelievable to see a player being supported the way she was. I mean, almost half the field was there.
Yeah,
it was really amazing.
I think what's cool is because, it's what, my 15th, then it was my 15th year on tour, I'm going into my 16th. Dave being out there, me being a player, we have both sides. We have player support and caddy support. We've got a great friendship. So I think, that's what made it extra special too. And I had family that lived down in Bath in the UK that came up to support too. Friends from Manchester that I went to school with. And obviously there's so many expats, ex-South Africans in the UK. There was a lot of support.
Ash, that win, and I mean, you were always this teenage prodigy, and you were expected to do all these things, and you had a good career. But how much has that win changed your life and fulfilled you as a golfer as well?
I was like turning pro, when I was 18 there was so much expectation and nothing really changed straight out the bat. But as we know, this game has so many ups and downs, and I think it was a case I peaked really early and then kind of took a dip, found my feet again. The last really sad 6 years, I've played very consistent golf. I've been able to at least make a life for myself and a living out of this game the last 5 years, which has been helpful. It's very difficult. And then, it's just the cherry on the top, knowing that not only like 15 years of being a pro, but all the years before that, the sacrifice is all worth it.
Was there ever a time in that journey where you went, geez, I don't know, if this is for me? Did you ever come close?
No, never. Like, I love it. I'm a golf nerd, I say. So like, it's in me, and I look at so many players that I started playing with, especially on the LET, who have now stepped away because it just got too hard, But I was always, because I love it so much, I think that's why I keep going. The grind at times gets very difficult, but the love for the game and I love doing it, I think, is what keeps me going. And obviously the support system and my parents, my coach, everybody, you have to have it in order to lift you up when things aren't going your way.
And how has the major changed your life in the last 6-8 months?
Not much, to be honest.
Right.
To be honest, like, the cool thing is when I get on the first tee now and I'm announced as a major champion. The first time that was a cool feeling. My caddy and I looked at each other and we're like, all right. But not much has changed, to be honest. Maybe a few more, obligations at tournaments. But other than that, I'm still here.
I wanted to ask with this now, and you've moved up to 18th yesterday in the world rankings.
Okay, that's nice
Well
to know.
done. I don't know if we've ever had a woman that high since Sally Little. It's brilliant.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But how has that changed the way that you're doing your schedule now? So remember we had this conversation where 2-3 years ago you said you want to rather play the events that suit your game and change your schedule. Now you're in a position to do it again.
Yeah, I think for me the problem is I still just love to play. It's a problem and it's not a problem. So like, especially, to be honest, I'm 33. After 3 weeks in a row, my body doesn't feel as good as it used to. I have to commit more time to recovery. But I've selected a few tournaments that in the past I feel like I had to go to, like Hawaii in particular. I always feel I have to go, and last year I wasn't supposed to, and to be honest, that's where my year turned around. I went there and I finished 4th. I say things happen for a reason, and that's kind of where it all started turning. But this year I was like, right, I'm not going to travel 15 hours from Florida to go to Hawaii when I don't have to. So it's nice to be able to have that, but at the same time, my schedule, to be honest, hasn't changed too much from the previous years so far. We kind of said we're going to see how it rolls, and if I feel like I need to take an extra week off every now and then, at least I have the luxury of being able to do it now.
Any major aspirations this year now that you've ticked one box?
Is the word major important?
To win again. Once you get that feeling, and I think the belief is there more so than ever now, and every week I step up, I feel I can compete, and I think I've shown that at the start of my season. I've never got off to a good start like this, finishing 3 top 10s and 3 LPGA.
This one, yeah.
3 LPGA events, 3 top 10s, that's never happened. And obviously now, the belief was always there, but once you do it, then it almost steps up even more.
Do you still want to win an LPGA tour?
I want to win any event. Any week you tee up. Obviously this week I'm here. I wanted to come back and support the event. I've always tried to play Investec Women's Open whenever I could. COVID, unfortunately, with the move in the schedule the last 3 years, it was impossible. But this year, with it falling in an off week, made the effort to come back. And obviously I know there's going to be pressure on me this week. I think everybody expects me to tee it up and win, but that's not golf. We can't guarantee anything, so hopefully I can just go out there and keep doing what I've been doing, my processes, my steps, and the outcome will come. But if it doesn't, it doesn't, I've won this 3 times. I don't have to prove to anybody anything. I'm just here to enjoy and be around family and friends and have fun.
I want to talk about the process. When we did that article, remember late bloomer article, you were talking then about getting the fundamentals right, getting the process right, and you talked a lot about the tempo during the British Women's. Won't you just elaborate a little bit about what that means within the Ashleigh Buhai game?
Yeah. So ultimately, like, I started working with Duncan McCarthy beginning of last year. Doug, who my coach, introduced me to him, and we're just like, something was missing. I'd been swinging it so good for so long, like, just like, okay, what's missing? So we had a few conversations, you know, sorted a few things out, and then basically came back to being more process-based instead of result-based, because we're so, as athletes or anybody, we're judged on our results, right? You shoot 72, you've had an average day. You shoot 68 or vice versa, you've missed the cut, you're judged, and like, then you start to like judge yourself as a person. Well, now I've missed the cut this week, I'm not a good person, wada, you know, it kind of then just eats into everything. So we were like, all right, well, let's start doing a few things better every day, every week. We have a few goals, and it wasn't even like golf specific. It was like, all right, this week, what does your tempo feel like? Doug and I have a percentage, so does my tempo need to feel at 60%, 40%? Right, let's just try to keep that percentage instead of try feeling like we have to keep the club in a certain position. All right, let's try play from a calm place. Like, I played in Saudi 3 weeks ago. I felt my intensity was too high because I was really so focused on trying to have a good result. And then I had a bad finish, and it was like, all right, well, I focused too much again on the result. So I went to Thailand. My goal was to improve my chipping and putting a little bit, but then the whole week I tried to play from a calm place. First day I wasn't there, shot even par. Next 3 days I kind of just let it go, and then I finished top 10 from there. So it's almost like taking away from that technical place and just trying to have something that you can control, which I can control how I feel, I can control my tempo, I can control my breathing, my steps, and just, yeah, trying to like take it away from being so focused on the actual golf swing.
On that note, I asked Trevor Immelman this a few years ago, and it's the thing. I mean, he won 11 pro tournaments, and he probably played hundreds. And even Tiger Woods at his best won 1 in 4. So, you know, even Tiger Woods wasn't winning 75% of the time. I mean, is that a hard thing to come to grips with as a golfer?
No, because this game you're always going to lose more than you're going to win. We've known that from when a very young age when you started. I was even asked last week in an interview, like, when you're going through those ups and downs, what does a win feel like? I said, well, some weeks a win is making a cut when things are going well. Some weeks a good week is a top 10 or a top 20, or, you know, those are little wins in this game, because you're not going to win every time you tee up. And when you do win, then you just got to really embrace it and enjoy it.
Yeah, Trevor said exactly the same thing, yeah.